The story begins as the older brother, under pressure from his younger sister, reluctantly starts playing the Otome game. As he progresses through the game, he complains about the characters and gameplay. Despite his reluctance, he manages to finish the game per his sister's conditions. As he exits his apartment, he suddenly feels dizzy, stumbling on the staircase and tragically falling to his death. Waking up in a younger body, he heads home, where his father punishes him in front of his mother and guests, Zola, and her children, Rutard and Merce. That night, in their modest shed, the boy discusses with his older brother the reason they live there while Zola resides in a mansion. As they talk, the brother suggests studying to qualify for marriage in the academy. During the conversation, the memories of the Otome game he played in his past life resurface, and he realizes he's now trapped in the game. Adopting the name Leon Fu Bartford, he reluctantly lives his life in the Otome game he once despised. It's been a decade since he realized he was a mob character in the original game, prompting Leon to meticulously document every detail in a journal, preparing himself for the game's events. He also maintained physical fitness, anticipating potential involvement in wars or conflicts. However, his ambitions waned over time, and he sought a simple life as a background character. But his plans took an unexpected turn when Zola orchestrated an arranged marriage for him to settle her debts. With their family facing financial hardship, rejecting the marriage meant he'd be recruited to be a soldier, a path likely leading to the battlefield and death. Once Zola departs, Leon seeks a favor from his father. The next day, he boards a boat to a location significant in the Otome game's protagonist's storyline. Caught in a maelstrom, Leon finds himself on an island with an abandoned ship. Investigating, he disables a sentry bot with his gun and retrieves an ID card from a deceased person named Josie Moon in the medical bay. Using the ID card, Leon gains access to the docking bay, discovering an ancient ship guarded by a giant sentry robot. A fierce battle ensues, and as the robot tightens its grip on him, it questions the year. Leon's response confirms the battle was lost, with the robot revealing that a new breed of magic-wielding humans emerged after a war that obliterated the old civilization. The robot's mission is to eliminate this new order. In a tight spot, Leon draws his short sword, firing it directly at the robot's eye, causing it to malfunction and faint. The robot, using the PA system, communicates with Leon, acknowledging him as the ship's new owner. Noting Leon's traits resembling old humans despite being new, the robot names the ship Luxian. As Leon falls backward, he begins to lose consciousness. Back at Leon's home, Zola scolds him for jeopardizing his marriage prospects by embarking on a potentially fatal adventure. While Leon's father argues it's premature to jump to conclusions, Zola counters that he's been absent for 3 months, assuming he ran away. Suddenly, Leon returns on a small ship, laden with treasure and Luxian as a floating orb. With newfound wealth in his ship, Leon declines Zola's marriage proposal and fulfills his desire to attend the academy. With a cheerful demeanor, Leon tends to some flowers while Luxian remarks on his upbeat mood, all thanks to the reaction from his stepmother, Zola. Being an independent knight, Leon has discovered an uninhabited island suitable for a baronet. Luxian suggests turning it into a tourist spot with a hot spring, a proposal that Leon finds appealing. He envisions the island's popularity, and the ship's robots begin constructing the place, set to finish in about 2 months. Anticipating an easy life as a baronet, Leon returns home to learn that his father, Balkis, has granted him the title of baron. Realizing the island is only fit for a baronet, Leon also understands that he must find a wife of the same rank as Zola. Standing before the impressive Holford Academy, Leon is amazed, contemplating the tasks ahead as the game officially commences. As he observes, a lady commands her servant to carry her luggage, and the prince's entourage arrives, trailed by Angelica and her servants. Spotting these groups, Leon hopes to continue as a simple mob character and witnesses Julius being slapped by an unknown young lady. The conversation between them feels familiar to Leon, who recognizes the spoken lines were meant for the game's protagonist, Olivia. In his room, Leon reflects on his suspicions about the girl he saw, while Luxian returns after exploring the city. Luxian notes the superiority of his scientific technology compared to the towns and emphasizes the need for further research on magic. Later, Leon discusses potential leads on girls from wealthy families at the academy with 2 boys, Daniel and Raymond. Unfortunately, they have no leads, and it turns out that the tea party mentioned earlier was Daniel's attempt to attract girls. Nearby, Julius and his friend Jilk are surrounded by adoring women excited about their upcoming tea party. Angelica approaches Julius, but he rejects her in favor of Marie. In class, Master teaches Leon about tea party etiquette. Leon's lackadaisical attitude prompts Master to give him an explanation that moves Leon to tears. Subsequently, Leon hosts his own tea party, inviting a baroness. However, when she arrives, she brings along friends and servants. It turns out they attended to pass the time until Brad's tea party, and upon leaving, they comment on the inadequacy of the snacks. Feeling the difficulty of the tea party path, Leon witnesses Olivia being bullied. Despite his reluctance to get involved in the game's plot, Leon extends an invitation to Olivia for tea. In contrast to previous guests, Olivia behaves politely and mildly. She expresses a desire to study more magic but is unaware of the Academy's unwritten rules. Recognizing the need for assistance, Leon suggests his older sister, Jenna, who reluctantly advises Olivia to use expensive snacks as a bribe to attend tea parties. With Leon's help, Olivia follows through and attends a tea party with Angelica. The two bond during the event, speaking warmly of Leon, who has both their interests at heart. During exploration class, Leon expresses disdain for Daniel and Raymond skipping the session, leaving him alone to handle the prince's entourage. Before the class embarks on their assignment, Leon observes a brief clash between Marie and Angelica, resolved by Julius. Olivia fills Leon in on Marie's background, and both Jilk and Greg support Julius' decision to favor Marie in continuing into the dungeon. Eventually, Olivia discovers the assignment objective, a crystal, and they encounter a group of ant monsters. Leon defeats them using a sword created by Luxian. However, a monkey monster latches onto Leon's arm, and he dispatches it with a dagger, sustaining a wound in the process. More ants gather, but just in time, the prince's entourage and Marie arrive. Angelica and her escorts witness the prince's entourage dealing with the ants. Noticing a wound on Julius' arm, Marie uses healing magic, and when Angelica checks on him, Julius departs with Marie. Olivia then notices Leon's arm wound and uses her healing magic to mend it. 3 girls burn Marie's possessions in a furnace, and later, Julius, accompanied by Jilk, retrieves them. They question Angelica about the incident, but she claims ignorance. Despite this, the culprits allege they were acting under her orders. Julius, believing their claim, instructs Angelica to stay away from both him and Marie within the academy. Leon, Daniel, and Raymond discuss wealthy students' engagements. Kind-hearted girls are taken, leaving the unpleasant. Leon's unanswered tea invites bother him. Marie, Julius' love interest, faces Angelica's bullying. Reflecting on Julius' delayed anger, Leon denies liking girls like Marie to Olivia. Olivia recalls Marie's dislike for girls like her, and they catch Brad and Marie kissing. Later, Marie enjoys a respite from bullying. Julius offers to finance a personal servant for her due to financial constraints, exciting Marie for a demi-human slave. Later, Angelica learns of this development from her friends and, feeling dismayed, laments that Julius now favors Marie over her. Meanwhile, Jenna barges into her brother's room, questioning him about someone named Marie. Leon shares all he knows about Marie, and in return, Jenna asks if he was involved in the recent bullying against her. Leon firmly denies any involvement in the recent bullying. Jenna warns him about the potential consequences, stating that if the prince favors him, he'd be well off, but the opposite if not. She cautions him not to make a fool of himself, preventing any embarrassment. Reflecting on Leon's apparent enjoyment, Luxian notes his lack of engagement. This sparks a minor exchange between them, leading Leon to inquire about Marie. Luxian refuses to provide information on her 3 sizes as well as Angelica's. A party unfolds with Julius, Marie, and Angelica in attendance, alongside Daniel, Raymond, and Leon, all determined to find girlfriends. Their attempts, however, end in wholehearted rejection from the ladies they approach. Following this, Olivia informs Leon about a confrontation involving the prince's entourage and Angelica. At the scene, Angelica accuses Marie of touching someone other than the prince, leading to confessions of love from the prince and his entourage. This sparks a commotion, and Angelica challenges Marie to a duel. Leon recognizes this as the duel event from the original game, where the protagonist had a provisional fighter with the highest relationship. Julius suggests Marie pick Leon as her champion, and he promises to be her champion. Jilk, Greg, Chris, and Brad also volunteer. Marie's servant, Kyle, joins in, but with no one offering to fight as her champion, Leon steps forward, aiming to prevent Angelica's predetermined fate from the original game. With a bit of hesitation, Angelica accepts Leon's proposal, and he, somewhat sheepishly, asserts that he'd like to dictate the method and set the stakes for the duel. Internally, he observes the otherworldliness he shares with Marie. Angelica states that Marie must stay away from Julius, while Marie, somewhat clumsily, repeats a line from the game, which Leon notices. In a brief skirmish with Greg, Jilk intervenes and affirms the chosen method. Leon then outlines the duel, consisting of 5 one-on-one rounds against him and the prince's entourage. Julius, accepting the terms, warns Leon to be prepared, but Leon throws down the gauntlet again, challenging Julius to pick it up. The next day, Marie expresses frustration in her room, feeling that Leon, a mob character, is ruining her plans. Meanwhile, Leon discovers that his room was vandalized by Daniel and Raymond, coerced by their peers to carry out the act. Luxian records the incident and reveals that bets are being placed on the duel's outcome, with the odds heavily against Leon. To counter this, Leon asks Luxian for 500 platinum coins. Following this, Angelica urges Leon to withdraw from the impending duel, despite the potential loss of face for both of them. She discloses that her family has already reprimanded her, and the worst-case scenario could lead to house arrest or exile to the borderlands. Leon confesses that his motivation isn't to gain favor with the Dukes but rather his weariness of searching for a wife and a desire to retaliate against the pretentious entourage. Angelica is taken aback when Leon asserts that she threw down the gauntlet. Highlighting the entourage's academic strength, Leon corrects Angelica's perception of their overall strength. On the day of the duel, Leon dons a suit prepared by Luxian and is greeted by Olivia, who wishes him luck. Leon surmises she bet on him, but Olivia clarifies that she abstains from gambling due to moral reasons. In the arena, faced with a disdainful crowd, Leon notices that both Daniel and Raymond bet on him, bringing a smile to his face. At that moment, his battle mech, Arrogance, arrives, met with ridicule from the crowd, but Leon remains unfazed. As Leon's mech faces ridicule, he reassures Angelica that everything will be fine. Intrigued by the mockery, Angelica explains to Olivia that it's a lost item, divulging its history. Up first in the duel is Brad, who adopts a boastful demeanor. Leon recalls information about him, disapproves of Brad's mech's color, and begins by retrieving his Blade 1, which looks like a shovel. The referee has them state their names, and as soon as they do, the duel kicks off. Brad initiates the first attack, but Leon skillfully dodges and knocks him out with a single hit. After referees examine Brad's mech, Leon is declared the winner. Despite the lackluster audience response, Master, in particular, applauds Leon for his victory. In the next round, Greg steps up to face Leon. They introduce themselves to the referee, and Luxian's analysis reveals that Greg's mech has undergone numerous repairs, indicating extensive battle experience. Greg taunts Leon, claiming that he didn't defeat Brad because of strength but due to his mech. Leon responds by suggesting that Greg is more inclined toward a duel of words and should consider inviting him to a tea party. The duel begins, and Greg relentlessly attacks Leon with his spear. Leon defends against the assaults with his blade, gaining the upper hand while criticizing Greg's nonsensical pride. Ultimately, Leon knocks Greg to the ground and dismantles both his mech's arms. After tearing off Greg's chest plate, Leon discovers him in the pilot's seat. Leon exits his mech, picks up a broken piece of his weapon, and challenges Greg to face him. However, Leon refuses, expressing his disinterest in bullying the weak. Caught off guard, Greg attacks Leon's mech futilely. The referee intervenes, declaring the match in Leon's favor. Now, it's Chris's turn to face off against Leon, and Chris openly declares his intention to take the fight seriously. Leon asserts that he will do the same, and Chris holds him to that word. The referee initiates the duel following Leon's analysis of Chris's character from the Otome game. Without hesitation, Leon backs up and deploys his drones to fire at Chris, leaving him unable to fight back. Upset by this crude and unfair attack, Chris calls out Leon for acting in an unchivalrous manner. Amused, Leon responds that they were simply weak, and he didn't have to fight seriously until then. Evading the drone's assault, Chris attacks Leon with his sword, but Leon easily grasps and breaks it. Distraught over losing to Leon, Chris notes how hard he worked. Leon facetiously consoles him, suggesting he should brag to Marie about his efforts. The crowd reacts with shock and disbelief, causing Jilk to feel anxious about the outcome. Jilk then enlists Jenna to relay a message to Angelica, urging her to ask Leon to forfeit the next round due to concerns for his health. However, Leon insists he feels fine and will continue in the next round of the duel. Unseen by Angelica and Olivia, Luxian reports that Jenna rigged Leon's mech with bombs on its back under Jilk's orders. Since Leon's mech is no ordinary one, the bombs won't have any effect on it. At the onset of the duel, Jilk employs a smokescreen and fires an anti-magic armor bullet, only to be shocked when it proves ineffective. Undeterred, he detonates the bombs on Leon's mech's back, but, as expected, it has no impact. Jilk pleads with Leon, warning of the consequences of going against Julius, but Leon remains unmoved and defeats Jilk. Despite the frustrations of the prince's entourage's losses, Julius assures Marie that he'll emerge victorious. Finally, Julius steps onto the arena, and before the duel commences, Leon asks him about his opinion on Olivia. Julius responds that he doesn't have an opinion. With that, the final duel begins. The audience cheers for Julius to defeat the country hick Leon as the referee initiates the duel. Julius launches an aggressive attack, but Leon adeptly defends against each assault, noting that Julius has the best possible armor on his mech. Leon torments Julius with the absurdity of sharing Marie with the other love interests. Julius claims Marie loves him for who he is. Leon points out if Julius continues to reject Angelica, he might be stripped of his title of prince. Julius still chooses Marie, so Leon destroys his armor and wins the duel. Julius officially cancels his engagement to Angelica. Leon strikes a deal with Angelica's father, expulsion from the academy and surrendering his noble titles in exchange for protection from Julius' family. He agrees but insists Leon take Angelica with him to the countryside. Returning home, Zola is furious at the trouble Leon has caused but is cowed into silence by Angelica's presence. On Leon's private island, Angelica and Olivia enjoy his hot spring baths and become closer as friends. Marie is furious when all of the love interests, including Julius, lose their titles, ending her plans for an easy life. Julius and the love interests are forced to earn their own money by raiding dungeons, though this makes them happier than they have been in years. Leon is annoyed when Julius' parents, the king and queen, promote him to 6th rank noble as thanks for teaching Julius an important lesson, necessitating him returning to the academy to find a noble wife. Though he is happy this time, he has friends in Angelica and Olivia. Students at the Holford Academy gear up for the culture festival, and Leon takes charge, directing Daniel and Raymond to set up a tea party for the event. A sheepish Livia arrives in a maid outfit, asking if it looks strange, and Leon approves. Angie joins, also dressed in a maid outfit, and shares a special moment with Livia. Touched, Leon becomes emotional but laments that he cannot date them as he's just a mob character. Former Prince Julius and his entourage host a tea party named Café Princess right next door, leaving Leon speechless. Julius approaches Leon, inviting him to their event, which infuriates Leon due to Julius' stuck-up attitude. Livia is astonished by the high tea prices, but Julius attributes it to Marie's suggestion. Julius walks away after making a derogatory comment, followed by Leon and his group wanting to see their cafe. They discover it's set up like a real-world host club. Inside the cafe, Brad criticizes Leon for scouting the competition, but Chris finds it worthwhile for Leon's reaction. Marie reveals the cafe setting was her idea. When Livia comments on the oddness of the place, Marie engages in a brief verbal scuffle with Leon, who speaks disparagingly about the cafe's name. Marie suggests Leon turn his cafe into a break room for hers, but he refuses, standing by his master. Outside, Livia tries to attract guests to Leon's cafe with a sign but fails. She's approached by Carla Fu Wayne, expressing interest in visiting Leon's cafe. That night, Queen Mylène expresses great interest in attending Leon's cafe. The next day, Leon boosts the spirits of both boys and girls, much to the boys' annoyance. A teacher informs Angie that the executive council wants to speak with her. She later gets assigned as Queen Mylène's escort during the festival. Mylène apologizes for her son Julius' behavior and notes the troubling attitudes of women towards men. Meanwhile, Leon and Livia observe a long line forming at the Prince Cafe. They are approached by a fierce-looking lady and her group, demanding entry to their cafe. Mylène arrives at Leon's cafe and witnesses him being berated by the lady. Unable to watch, Angie steps in, recognizing the lady as an Offrey family member, rivals to her own. Livia also intervenes but is disparaged for being a commoner. The Offrey lady reveals Angie's past statement about commoners being just numbers. As the Offrey lady continues, Leon speaks up for Angie, leading to him getting slapped. Mylène eventually intervenes, revealing her true identity, but the Offrey lady refuses to leave, prompting a sinister smile from Leon. Leon, using magical enhancements, defeats the Offrey lady's escorts and falsely claims she disparaged Queen Mylène. Despite Mylène's attempts to stop him, Leon takes advantage of the situation. Angie calls in Master to mediate, emotionally reaching Leon. While Master prepares tea, Mylène talks to Leon, warning him about the enemies he made in the royal palace due to his duel with Julius. She asks if he's thought about his future, and Leon, pleased, agrees. Mylène then shifts the conversation, asking Leon to help create memories with her. Leon, taking it seriously, proposes to her, flustering Mylène. Julius arrives, punches Leon into a trash can, and escorts Mylène to his cafe. At Julius' cafe, Mylène criticizes the exorbitant prices and Julius breaking his promise. She demands to see Marie, hidden nearby. Back at Leon's cafe, he laments his limitations as a mob character. Carla enters, ignored by Leon, but she notices Livia and asks for an introduction to Leon. Carla then kneels, requesting Leon to save her family. Carla Fu Wayne introduces herself formally to Leon and, kneeling, politely asks him to save the Wayne family. In Leon's room, Luxian questions if he intends to help Carla, and Leon affirms, influenced by Livia's involvement in arranging the meeting. Olivia and Angelica's friendship hits a rough patch when bullies call Olivia Angelica's pet. The festival features a flying bike race, with third-year student Dan Elgar as the top contender. Leon uses Luxian's prediction programming to make a fortune gambling on the races. Jilk's ex-fiancée, Clarice, seeks revenge for their breakup by injuring him, preventing him from racing. Marie persuades Leon to step in as Jilk's replacement, highlighting that Angelica will be shamed if he declines. Dan reveals Clarice's heartbreak over Jilk. Though they both admit to hating Jilk, Dan vows to beat Leon as Jilk's substitute. During the race, other racers, bankrupted by Leon's bets, gang up on him. Stephanie upsets Olivia by revealing Angelica's past mistreatment of commoners, leading to Angelica attacking her. Leon wins the race, but his bike explodes. Fortunately, Dan saves him from a potential fall, united by their shared dislike for Jilk. Leon compels Jilk to apologize to Clarice, surprising her with Leon's unexpected kindness behind his tough exterior. Leon persuades Olivia to give Angelica another chance at friendship, acknowledging the challenges of a bond between a commoner and a noble. Carla then approaches Olivia for a private conversation. Carla visits Livia, requesting her assistance in mediating a meeting between her and Leon. Despite Livia's initial inclination to refuse, Stephanie appears, insisting that she comply and threatening her with disparagement and ruin if she does not. Stephanie ridicules Angie's name and forces Carla to follow her orders, pulling Livia's hair and revealing supposed truths about how Leon and Angie view her. The next day, Leon discusses with Luxian the Sky Pirates that Carla wants him to eliminate from her lands due to his past achievements. These pirates possess crucial items for the protagonist's awakening. Normally, this event would occur much later, but it has been accelerated by Stephanie's scheme. Stephanie is said to be jealous of Livia's success despite her commoner background. Leon acknowledges his status as a mob character, aiming to avoid unnecessary events and conflicts. Luxian suggests that Livia could handle the subjugation of the pirates, but Leon insists on taking care of it himself, citing Livia's current state of mind. Luxian mentions the possibility of Leon becoming Livia's love interest, but Leon denies such notions, asserting he's just a simple mob character. Internally, Luxian observes that Leon's overprotectiveness may hinder Livia's potential for growth. Leon confirms with Luxian that their ship, the Partner, is ready by its docks. Carla and Livia join them, and despite Livia attempting to hide it, Leon notices her carrying luggage, deducing that her reconciliation with Angie was unsuccessful. Carla reveals that Brad and Greg are also assisting them on their quest. On the ship, an exchange occurs between Leon, Brad, and Greg. Brad, who was once engaged to Carla, aims to use the pirates' bounties to help Marie. Greg, motivated by the bounties and with a desire to acquire an armored vessel from the pirates, engages in a heated exchange with Brad, mediated by Carla. Meanwhile, in the academy, Angie discovers that Livia's dorm door was vandalized. Stephanie and her cohorts approach Angie, claiming she was checking up on her pet as she's out hunting pirates. Realizing Stephanie's involvement in the pirate plot, Angie grabs her collar and threatens her. Disturbed by the situation, Angie plans to warn Leon and expresses concern for Livia. Returning to the ship, Leon engages in a card game with Brad and Greg, using some cheating tactics to secure a win. The conversation shifts to Stephanie's past engagement with Brad and her notoriety. Luxian then alerts Leon about 2 incoming pirate ships. Despite Brad and Greg being oblivious and unprepared, Leon volunteers to handle the situation. As the pirate ships approach, Leon, piloting his Arrogance mech, confronts them. The pirates, known as the Winged Sharks, dismiss Leon's Arrogance as outdated. However, they are left astonished as Leon's mech defeats the Vanguard team. Brad and Greg watch in awe, realizing they are witnessing real-time warfare. Despite the pirates attempting to retreat after Leon's missiles destroy their barriers, they surrender. With the pirates restrained on the deck, Brad reflects on the reality of warfare he witnessed. Inside the Arrogance cockpit, Luxian questions Leon's choice not to kill the pirates, to which Leon explains his mentality. Frustrated, Clara fails to contact the pirates from her room. Wanting to avoid taking the blame, Clara had hoped to shift the responsibility to Livia, saving face in front of Bartford. Later, the group finds themselves at gunpoint by a group of armed individuals, but the situation is mediated by Conrad Fu Wayne, Clara's father. Brad mentions that his daughter sought their help with the Sky Pirates, but Clara shifts the blame onto Livia, who was too timid to speak for herself. Speaking on Livia's behalf, Leon reveals the truth about their mission and Clara's culpability, bringing her to tears. Back on the ship, despite the pirates being defeated, their main fleet remains, and they have yet to acquire the Holy Necklace for Livia. Later, Leon meets with Livia, who shares her thoughts and emotions, including those planted by Stephanie. Upset and accusatory, Livia confronts Leon, feeling treated like a pet by both him and Angie. Pondering this on the ship's deck with Luxian, Leon dismisses it as an outcome of their roles. Luxian, bluntly asserting Leon's fault in stunting Livia's growth, earns an angered punch. Brad joins, practicing swordplay and expressing determination to defeat Leon. Suggesting Brad focus on magic, Leon reflects on the prince's entourage's pursuit of Marie, unlike his approach with Livia. A duel ensues, making Leon contemplate the prince's romantic pursuits. Leon wins, and Brad vows to challenge him again before leaving. Meanwhile, Marie and Kyle tackle a challenging dungeon to retrieve an item for the protagonist. In another part of the story, Julius and Jilk concoct a flawed plan to escape the castle, only to have it rejected by the queen once it comes to her attention, much to Julius and Jilk's disappointment. During lunch with Brad and Greg, Leon discusses plans to eliminate the remaining sky pirates. Unexpectedly attacked, Brad and Greg plead with Leon to assist. In her cabin, Livia learns of the pirate attack. Trying to reach the deck, she encounters two worker bots, gaining passage with her voice. On the deck, a pirate in armor confronts Livia, but Brad intervenes. In the battlefield, Leon struggles to capture pirates alive. Luxian notifies him of the leader's presence. Witnessing Brad and Greg protect Livia, Leon refuses to stand idly. Requesting an axe from the Arrogants, Leon defeats the pirate leader, retrieving the holy necklace. In the aftermath, Livia heals Brad's injured arm, surprising him with her healing abilities similar to Marie's. Leon arrives, informing Greg that Olivia healed Brad and requesting assistance in taking him inside. While Greg and Leon attend to Brad, Livia tearfully wishes Leon would have addressed her as Livia. In his room, Leon gazes at the treasure from the pirates, finding incriminating documents linking Stephanie to them. The ship is approached by a Redgrave envoy. Brad and Greg credit themselves for defeating pirates and claim the bounty. Leon proposes reconsideration of their disinheritance. On the deck, Leon shares thoughts with Luxian, expressing a desire to return to a simple role. Brad and Greg's proposal to promote Leon from upper 6th to lower 5th disrupts this plan. To add to his dismay, Bernard Fiat-Lee sends a letter, thanking Leon for helping Clarice. Bernard rewards him with a new air bike and promises a promotion to upper rank 5th upon graduation, leaving Leon completely distraught. Outside of the Holford Academy, Leon and Luxian check out the new air bike Leon received from Clarice named Schwert. Its translated name means sword, and Leon immediately starts to embrace it affectionately, but Luxian proclaims that he'll mod it now. It's then mentioned that the school trip is coming up, which took place in the original Otome game as a way to grow closer with your romantic interest. For Leon's choice, he chose the floating southern island where one of the prince's entourage, Chris, was located. That night on a luxury passenger ship, Leon and Luxian briefly discuss their plans for when they reach their destination. They also notice Angie and Livia on the boat and see a haughty woman named Deirdre boast about herself to her group. Down in the engine room, Angie's former groupies follow the orders of someone to toss out a pair of smoking sticks outside one of the windows there. Eventually, the ship arrives at its destination, and Livia laments how alone she is there and meets with Leon and Angie at a temple. A shrine maiden informs the group that the shrine is for marriage and hears that Leon, Livia, and Angie make an offering and pray to the temple. Internally, Leon hopes that both ladies find suitable partners for themselves, and in the end, they're given a unique charm by the shrine maiden. Incidentally, this was the item that Leon was after and had pulled a lot of strings to reach the destination spot to get a hold of said charm. Opening the packets that contain the charms, Livia gets a blue charm, Angie a red charm, and Leon gets a charm called the Battle Charm. It's a special item that enhances close-quarter combat abilities and increases physical attributes. The following day, the ship leaves the island and Luxian notes that Leon most certainly got the Battle Charm so he could get the holy bracelet from the dungeon. It was also where Marie was at with the same intention as Leon. On the other hand, Leon is hopeful that if Marie thoroughly played the game, she'd avoid the war route. On another ship, a red-eyed female notes how it's nearly time. Back on the deck, Chris approaches Leon and suggests they have a sword duel, leading into a bit of a detrimental conversation about Chris's swordplay. Just then an alarm is set off and a large swarm of monsters approaches the ship. Leon notices the crest on the monsters as one from the Principality of Fenas. Before Leon could give the orders to retaliate to Luxian, a monster ship appears. The Academy ship is attacked by Princess Hertrude of the Fenas Duchy, who declares war, an event not supposed to happen until the end of the game. Angelica volunteers as hostage, and when Leon and Olivia try to protect her, Hertrude's commander Garrett forces other students to beat them. Holfort Kingdom orders Chris to delay Hertrude as long as possible, even if they all die. Most students cowardly refuse, so as a high-ranked noble, Leon orders every student to fight, shaming them by calling them false nobles. Deirdre Roseblade, the highest-ranked noble below Angelica, is insulted and proclaims her family achievements, but even she is shamed when Leon points out those achievements belong to her ancestors, while she acted the coward like everyone else. Through shame, anger and wounded pride, Every student agrees to fight. Impressed by his rudeness and brazen lack of respect, Deirdre falls in lust with Leon. Leon promises Olivia he will save Angelica. Gertrude reveals she controls her monsters with her flute as they attack Leon as soon as he leaves the ship. Leon, aided by Luxian, discerns that Angie is likely within the enemy ship, possibly with the magical flute controlling the monsters. To forge a pathway to the ship, they strategically disrupt the enemy monsters' formation. Meanwhile, Chris, steering his armor craft, contemplates his combat skills in comparison to Leon's. He mobilizes male students in their armored suits to engage the invading monsters, safeguarding the ship. Outside, Deirdre orchestrates a defensive effort, creating a barrier and launching spells against the encroaching monsters. On the ship, Gertrude becomes aware of Leon's presence and uses the magical flute to accelerate the monster's assault. In defense of her fellow students, Angie speaks up, praising Leon as the team's vanguard. Gellet, exuding confidence, asserts that their army's cannon will obliterate the students' ship. Luxian expresses surprise at the resilience of the students, particularly the males, against the formidable enemy forces. Leon attributes their tenacity to their adventurer heritage, emphasizing the desire of males to secure good wives after graduation. Deirdre employs her magic to combat the monsters on the students' ship, while Livia uses her healing abilities to assist one of the ship's staff members. As an enemy ship targets them with its cannon, and others follow suit, Livia summons the courage to cast a comprehensive protective barrier around the ship. With multiple volleys of projectiles heading their way, Livia, determined, channels her magic to unleash missiles against the monsters, creating an opening for Leon to infiltrate the enemy ship through its mouth. Gellet scoffs at Leon's daring move, predicting that it will be remembered as a fool's attempt to defy the principality alone. However, Leon arrives on the scene, swiftly dealing with the soldiers, incapacitating Gellet, and confronting Gertrude with his shotgun, demanding her surrender. Impressed with Leon's resolve and prowess, Gertrude attempts to inquire about his name, but he dismisses the question, scolding her for stalling and insisting on her surrender. Luxian, examining the situation, reveals to Leon that the flute he possesses is a fake, and the real one is in the maid's possession. To emphasize the point, Luxian shaves off Gellet's mustache. With Gertrude restrained, Leon, along with Angie and Gertrude, escapes on his bike as the monster holding the ship is defeated. Meanwhile, Gellet, aboard another ship, prepares for a counterattack. Back on the ship, Leon notices Livia's exhaustion, and Chris seeks his advice on what to do now that the monsters have halted. Before Leon can respond, Gellet announces that Gertrude has chosen to sacrifice herself for the principality, ordering the enemy ships to launch an all-out attack. Resigned to this fate, Gertrude releases her magic from the magical flute, causing the monsters to encircle the ship. Not wanting Livia to cast the draining spell again, Leon speeds off on his bike to confront the monsters, leaving Angie worried about her limited options. Suddenly, Angie's charm activates, and fire lances surround her, providing backup support for Leon. However, her attention shifts to Livia, who appears fatigued. Checking on her, Angie discovers that Livia feels responsible for holding both Angie and Leon back and yearns for their acknowledgement as true friends. Moved by this revelation, Angie assures Livia of her genuine acknowledgement and embraces her, bringing tears to Livia's eyes. However, their moment is interrupted as the ship is attacked, causing Angie to fall overboard and cling to the ship's side. Reflecting on her regrets, Angie prepares to accept her fate but is saved in the nick of time by Livia. During a heartfelt conversation, another cannon shot hits the ship, propelling Angie back onto the deck and causing Livia to fall overboard. Leon swiftly rescues her, although he gets scolded for using her full name instead of her nickname. This leads to a candid discussion about Livia's feelings for Leon and his perceived inadequacies, but despite his reservations, Livia confesses her love for him. Once the heartfelt moment passes, Leon rides his bike back to the ship with a joyful Livia behind him because he called her Livia. On the ship's deck, Livia and Angie tearfully embrace each other, observed by Leon. The partner then emerges, attacking the enemy ships. Leon's armored mech, the Arrogance, lands on the ship, assuring Chris that he'll handle the enemy forces as he boards it. Despite Gellet's fleet being in a tight spot, the presence of their Black Knight, Vandal Himsen, provides a sense of reassurance. Swiftly maneuvering the Arrogance to evade enemy attacks effortlessly, Leon instructs the partner to deploy rescue ships for his fellow students. Chris and Deidre efficiently organize the evacuation efforts. Meanwhile, a single black mech wielding a sword stands atop the leading enemy ship, hurtling toward Leon, who suspects it to be the Black Knight. On one of the rescue ships, Gertrude addresses the Black Knight as Vandal, questioning why he was sent into action. Angie fills Livia in on the Black Knight's backstory, of which she was previously unaware. Leon deploys drones on the battlefield to confront Vandal, but they prove no match as he effortlessly defeats them and closes in on Leon. Struggling in the face of this formidable opponent, Leon has Luxian stow his sword and rifle, opting to continue the fight barehanded. During the skirmish, a lone soldier attacks Leon, but he swiftly deals with the threat. Exploiting the situation, Vandal manages to slice open Leon's stomach. With the video feed lost, Leon relies on the exposed area in his armor to see his adversary. With 30% of his armor's performance compromised and the strain increasing, Luxian advises a strategic withdrawal. Against the advice of withdrawing or using the partner to eliminate Vandal, Leon persists in his struggle against the formidable opponent. During their confrontation, Vandal reveals his commitment to fighting as a knight of the principality, driven by a sense of duty. Employing a flash bomb, Vandal thrusts his sword into the Arrogance. However, Leon, armed with his shotgun, exits the Arrogance, allowing Luxian to autopilot it and attach it to Vandal's mech. Despite Vandal's plea for a merciful end, Leon declines to kill him. Luxian supplies handcuffs, ensuring the partner maintains control of the surroundings. Gellet releases a special signal flare, prompting Gertrude to warn of something more ominous than her magical flute's power. A swarm of monsters emerges, but under Leon's command, Luxian eradicates them with a rain of laser beams. Claiming victory, Leon decides to spare Vandal's life, taking his sword as a war trophy. He declares Vandal finished, having been defeated by a civilian ship filled with students. As dusk settles, the pilot tows the enemy ships, and Gellet pleads for mercy at Leon's feet. Leon, exhibiting a heartless demeanor, rejects Gellet's attempts to negotiate, emphasizing that the victor deserves compensation for their war efforts. In the ship's hangar, Luxian questions Leon about his decision not to use the ship to confront the Black Knight. Leon, in turn, asks about the potential outcomes. Luxian explains that both Principality and Holfert would consider him a significant threat, posing unfavorable consequences for a simple mob character like him. Later, upon attempting to enter his room, Leon finds himself barred as Livia and Angie are asleep inside. Though he considers it a sight to behold, he wishes they had informed him earlier. Luxian discloses that they grew tired of waiting for him. Chris then approaches Leon, not for a duel as Leon initially suspects, but to express his determination to catch up to him, making Leon his goal. As Chris walks away, Leon contemplates having him take credit for the recent endeavor, similar to the incident with the Sky Pirates. In the Redgrave household, Angie learns from her brother Gilbert that Gertrude's punishment is to study abroad, a consequence she deems too lenient. Gilbert then shifts the conversation to Leon's romantic life, to which Angie claims he doesn't have one. This confuses Gilbert, as someone with Leon's remarkable achievements should attract many admirers. At the Holford Academy, Leon enjoys a tea party with Livia and Angie. They discuss the plan for Chris to take credit for defeating the Black Knight, which could help him reconcile with his family. Livia and Angie praise Leon for his strategic thinking. When they inquire about Luxian, Leon introduces him, and Luxian shares details about his background and connection with them. The two find Luxian fascinating, and Livia gives him the nickname Lux, a name Leon happily adopts. Despite the light-hearted moment, Luxian alerts Leon about Julius and his entourage plotting something. In a different location, Julius and his entourage unveil a new mech to Marie and Kyle, built from salvaged parts of their destroyed mechs. Marie is shocked and angered by the extravagant expense incurred for this project. Later, a rematch duel is arranged, with Greg representing the entourage. The condition for the entourage's victory is that they won't interfere with their relationship with Marie any longer. Unbeknownst to them, Leon plans to intentionally lose the fight. His reasoning is that he'd rather see them happy with their beloved than continue to interfere with their relationship. At the start of the match, Lux reports that Greg's armor is dangerously built and will explode. Despite Leon's attempts to warn Greg and the referee, they dismiss his plea due to his previous confrontational behavior. Lux suggests a way to prevent the explosion by destroying the armor. Reluctantly, Leon accepts the only option to save Greg's life and destroys the armor, resulting in his own loss. Marie panics, realizing she lost 500,000 Dish due to Leon's defeat. Later, Leon expresses frustration to Daniel and Raymond about how despite winning, people still treat him poorly. They inform him about an upcoming award ceremony where he'll be recognized for capturing Gertrude. Angie escorts him to the event, hoping to introduce him to her father and brother. During the ceremony, Leon reflects on his initial struggles in finding a wife and surviving student life. He receives a medal and is granted the title of Viscount by Master. Outside, Leon encounters Livia, who awaits his response to a question she posed earlier. He then meets with Angie, reflecting on his past goal of pairing Livia with the prince's entourage and how his feelings have shifted towards wanting to be with both Angie and Livia. Lux comments on Leon's similarity to Marie and finding romantic partners, irking Leon, who blames himself for his current situation.